I don't know if you've noticed or not, but things have gotten more expensive over the last few years. And not just here, but everywhere. Not just houses, gas, and food, and food, and food. And really, everything has gone up in price. And so, if you're like me, you're looking for some ways to maybe cut some costs, maybe reduce the household budget a little bit. And I have for you guys 7 ways that here in St. John County, in St. Augustine, in this area specifically, that you can save some money. Now, a few of these are going to be a little more general for either hot climate or maybe for people that are building a new home or, working on their home or maybe for like Florida in general. But there are some tips as well that are going to save you a ton of money if you're in St. Augustine specifically. So make sure you hold on till the end so you can get all the best money saving tips. My name is Austin Prague. Welcome to the channel, and let's hop right into these 7 cost saving tips, money hacks. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'm going to stop babbling on in the intro and we're going to hop right in right now. So number one might be pretty obvious, and it's a big reason a lot of people move here. And it seems like people move here and then they forget about this reason that they moved here. And if you can relate, maybe your mind's already going there, but that is, we have so much free entertainment here. And that would be the beach, hiking trails, kayaking, just a lot of recreational outdoorsy activities here in Northeast Florida. It's super special. If you want to drive a little bit, you can go to Crystal Springs and see some other things as well. There's a lot of cool stuff around. But right here in St. Augustine, in St. John County, in Jacksonville, in this whole area, there is a ton of free stuff. And it is interesting. A lot of times people are moving here and they talk to me and they're like, man, we want to be 10 minutes from the beach and as close as possible. And I don't know, 8 times out of 10, when I check in with people, maybe a year or so later, they are not going to the beach that much. Unless, hey, how often do you guys go to the beach? And it's maybe, in the summer a little more frequently, but maybe, once every couple months or something like that in the rest of the year. And even in the summer, a lot of times it's once every 2 or 3 weeks, or make a whole summer and not make it to the beach. And that is why they moved here in the first place. So I think a big part of it is just, if you're living here, tap pause, maybe on date night, instead of like looking for the new expensive fancy restaurant, go to Publix, pick up a pub sub, just take your sweetie to the beach and unwrap the sandwich there and enjoy that and enjoy nature and enjoy the fresh air and the water and the sand, not in your food. Go on a hike, go on a bike ride, do all those things that you came here to do. And you are going to save a ton of money because let's face it, a lot of the restaurants in St. Augustine are touristy and they're amazing, but you also pay for that, right? Supply and demand. And especially in high season, um, just, restaurants are booked up and packed up. And so they can charge what they want to charge for food. So again, head to the beach, kayak, bike ride, go for a jog. Well, jogging, whatever, not as much for me, but do some outdoorsy stuff that is completely free. And that is number one, how you're going to save money. But we've got 6 more coming up, and some of those are very specific to this area. So tip number 2 is really directed at people buying new construction, but also it can affect anyone. I actually have a neighbor that has a company that does this kind of stuff. And let's just talk for a minute about energy efficiency and specifically about insulation. Now, when you build a new house here, most of the builders are going to do a great job insulating your house in the walls, up in the attic space, of course, and they do a great job. But there are a couple of areas where they don't typically put insulation, and one of those is over and around the garage. And so the garage can get really, really, really hot. And so just for a little bit of extra money during the build, it really doesn't hurt to have them uh, spray some extra foam. Well, so first of all, there's spray foam, but I'm just talking about they just take the big thing and they just put the that chopped up fiberglass foam up in the attic space. And so maybe consider having them do that above the garage. As another bonus, this isn't really about saving money. This is about saving your eardrums and saving the relationship with your kids or whoever's got the TV loud. If you have an office or a study or the master bedroom with interior walls, if the builder's willing to do it, maybe consider insulating around your study, around your master bedroom with any interior walls just for soundproofing. And maybe you're like me and you like your bedroom super, super cold at night. It might help with that as well. But for soundproofing, super clutch. But we're talking right now about saving money and insulating over your garage and saving that space. Maybe have a fridge in the garage. If your garage is super hot, that fridge has to work so, so hard. It's going to be sucking energy out of the walls, and your meter is going to be going like this, and your wallet's going to be shooting money out to pay for all the electricity. So keeping the garage at a not necessarily air conditioned, but at a more livable temperature is going to be good overall for your household heating and cooling bills. So another thought, there are some builders here that do this. I'm thinking about Providence Home in general because they do it with all of their homes, but they do this spray foam up in the attic. And so it's pretty neat. There's no of the fluffy fiberglass stuff up there. It's just this yellow spray foam they spray, and it keeps out the heat or keeps out the cold, I guess, in the winter. We've actually been pretty cold this winter. It keeps a lot of critters out. It keeps a lot of things out. And so you got to know what you're doing with it. Maybe a builder that never done spray foam, they may make some mistakes. It may not come out right. They may create some like, uh, condensation and moisture and things up in the attic. So you want to make sure your builder knows what they're doing. But spray foam cost a little more on the front end. But man, having that attic storage space at like 80 degrees or below when it's 100,000 degrees outside, it's pretty amazing. And like I said, it also keeps critters and a lot of other things out of the house. So spray foam is really cool. Insulate over around your garage and other areas of your house. That's going to help save you some money on your cooling bill. Tip number three, three, three. How do you make your threes? Tip number three is about parking, especially in St. Augustine. And yeah, it's a historic city. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to find parking, but this isn't about finding parking. This is about paying for parking. And so here we zoom back. We have St. Johns County. Here's the mighty, mighty Nocatee. And we come down here to the historic district where everyone wants to hang out. And so we come down here, we've got the fort. And just here by the fort, we have the historic downtown parking facility. See right here. And this is a super convenient place to park. There's a ton of parking in there. But there's always a but, right? It is ridiculously, in my opinion, expensive to park there. Up to $20 to enter the facility. So if you're just running down for a quick dinner or something like that, 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 20 bucks, man, that adds up. But it is so convenient, such a great place to park. Well, I'm going to give you a little hint. If you ever do park down here, I just want you to walk right through a little courtyard right here and come over to this side. And this is only for St. Johns County residents. You need to live in St. Johns County, have a St. Johns County address, and prove that you live in St. Johns County. But you can come over here to the visitor center and you can get yourself a Park Now pass. Now, there's also an app. And let me tell you a little bit about the benefit with this St. Augustine mobile app, Park Now and Park Now cards. Super important to do this for St. John residents, just for the savings alone. So $20 per vehicle in the big garage, 5 for off-peak times. I don't know what off-peak times are because every time I go there, it's like 20 bucks. But with the Park Now, here's the two big benefits. So with the parking garage, we'll start with the biggest benefit. The $20 per entry is only $3 per entry when you have your resident discount. So that is a massive savings for if you want to go down to St. Augustine. You can go down 6 and almost 6 and a 6 and 2/3 times, if my math is right, for the cost of going one time, only paid $3. And then parking on the street and or in the parking lots, the metered lots, 250 per hour versus 50 cents per hour. Also, using the app, it is so much easier to hop into your car because who remembers their license plate number? Not me. Hop into your car, run around to the back, use the app to punch in which location you're at. Super easy to park down there with that rather than having to go to a little kiosk and then you forgot your license plate. And you got to run back to your car, take a picture of your license plate, run back to the kiosk. And now there's a bunch of other people in line in front of you. And then you end up paying 250 per hour. On the app, it's super cool, 50 cents an hour. And then if you're hanging out and things are taking long, you just want to add time, you can just add time in the app so you don't get a ticket. You don't get booted or towed. I don't know if that happens down there or not. But gosh, so worth it. If you're a St. Johns County resident, you absolutely must get your car, get your tags licensed or registered for a Park Now pass and enjoy these savings like the local you are, like you should.
So tip number four is related somewhat to parking because before you park somewhere, you've got to drive somewhere. This has to do with driving your car, and it quite simply is the Sun Pass. And let me tell you a couple of things about the Sun Pass before you're like, it's a toll collector device. Well, it is, but sort of like up north, you come from up north, you have Easy Pass, and other places you have all your different things. In Florida, for the most part, it's the Sun Pass. And so, just as a quick note, you want to have the Sun Pass so you can use the toll lanes. And I don't think a lot of the toll lanes have the pay by plate, and so there may be like a $25 fine if you use the toll roads without the Sun Pass. Now, here's the little hack or trick or thing that you might not know is that a lot of times here, at least in the Jacksonville area, St. Johns County, where you have the loop going around the city, and maybe there'll be some toll roads cutting down under Rivertown, going across the Shands Bridge area there as they develop that out to Green Cove Springs. But right now, over the Buckman Bridge, there definitely is a toll lane getting you to the Buckman and back. But what's my point? There's not always a charge. There's not always a fee. So it's worth having the Sun Pass. Even if you're like, I don't really want to pay tolls, then you can just use the toll roads on the off peak hours, and you can use them for free. And yeah, maybe it's not going to save you a lot of time, but maybe especially around like Christmas, when everyone's trying to get to St. John's Town Center and do their shopping, it's really handy to hop on 9B and fire over into that lane, and you don't have the people coming off of Bay Meadows and people coming off Gate Parkway going to IKEA, people coming off and on JTB Butler, and trying to get up to the university or over to Hodges or the beach or over to. You can just like cruise right through. There's no on or off exits, and you just get up to where you're going, where it merges back in, and save some time maybe, or save some stress at least. Now, I will say, in my experience, try to keep your speed good. I haven't had tickets, knock on wood, but a lot of times coming onto the expressways, I've noticed that because it is so clear and empty, that a lot of friendly police officers like to have their little laser and they're aiming it down there. So don't take it as just a license to go way faster than the other people because you might get a little nasty surprise there on the other side of it. But hey, for charge, the cost of free, you can hop onto the express lanes. There's not a lot of them, but the ones that are there, it's if it's free, it's kind of more chill. You don't worry about people merging on and off. Anyways, that was tip number four. We're going to hop into tip number five and six and seven, but I just wanted to let you know really quick that if you're looking to move here to St. Augustine, St. Johns County, I would love to help you guide you, help to love you, guide you, help to guide you, love to help guide you in that process. And believe me, I can actually speak English sometimes. Actually, maybe much better on Zoom where we're having a conversation. But would love to set a 15-minute cup of coffee before your coffee gets cold. So assuming it starts hot, we can get a lot of ground covered and help you figure out some things here about this area in general. But anyways, enough pitching about me. Let's continue on and move on to tip number five. So tip number five is probably important wherever you live. You're going to save some money if you do this, but especially here in Florida, I found. And tip number five is just about really paying attention to and knowing, and every year, maybe even every half a year, depending on how you're paying for things, but you need to be shopping for your insurance and keep that up. um, we have seen some vast differences between the same house, the same year, same everything between different companies. So I personally recommend talking to a broker, or maybe if you know a good State Farm or one of those all-in-one type insurance places, maybe talk to them and a broker and really shop it out there and see what is available, because it can be the difference between paying $1,500 a year to insure your house and like $6,000 a year to insure your house, with very similar coverages, just depending on who's doing what. We have had a rash, as I understand it, of fraud, or at least shady activities. A lot of it perpetrated by roofers over the last, I don't know, 20 plus years here in Florida. And basically, it's, coming to the homeowners and saying, hey, we can check your roof. If you find, hail damage, we can, well, they can't say they'll pay your deductible anymore, but we can put a sign in your yard to just pay you the privilege of doing that. Oh, well, look, it's just as much as your deductible. We can cover your deductible somehow unofficially and get you a new roof. And so these insurance companies have been buying roofs for people. There's been a lot of litigation, and insurance or lawyers are getting paid, and all kinds of stuff going on. I'm not an expert on it, but that's just how I understand a lot of the problem here. I understand a lot of it's been bandaged and maybe move towards, healing some of that. So maybe the rates will level off and, dare I say, come down at some point. But you need to be shopping for watching your rates. And if you're looking to buy a house, yeah, you need to weigh the age of the roof now. It used to be like we're putting on 25 and 30-year shingles on these roofs. They're not getting that. And, physically, and even if they are, insurance just isn't recognizing them. I think I read something where roofs built after 2016 are maybe done a little more insurance friendly than roofs before 2016. That maybe the construction's a little bit better. I don't know if that's leaked into the insurance or not yet. But goodness me, oh my, I have seen homes. I've personally helped people sell a home in 2023 where their roof was 13 years old, and the buyers couldn't get insurance on it unless they got a new roof. And so we did some gymnastics and managed to work with the buyers and sellers together and get everything figured out. Well, they're able to make that happen. So my sellers are able to sell and they're happy. Buyers are able to buy and insure their house and they're happy. But don't get surprised. You go buy a house with an 8 or 9 year old roof. We're seeing a lot of times, even kind of 10 years seems to be that number, where insurance companies are starting to maybe change their tune on whether they're going to cover it and how much it's going to cost. So you could go into a house purchase, buy a house, and 2 years later, insurance might say, hey, guess what? Your insurance is going up significantly. I don't know about the rules about if they can drop you or not and all that kind of stuff, but just something to be aware of. And just as a side note, another reason you want to work with an experienced real estate agent that can help you walk through these things and make you aware of these possible cost traps and pitfalls. I'd love to be that guy, just as it may be. Wow, I'm having a really hard time speaking on this video, but that's okay. We'll get the job done. We'll get you informed. And yeah, with that said, tip number five, insurance. Let's hop over to tip number six. What sign language is that's six, I think, right? Tip number six. I get people coming here all the time and they're asking me, what are your electric bills like? And, I live in a 3250 square foot house, something like that. We keep it really, 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 really cold. We like to sleep below 70 at night and keep it like 72 during the day, just the way we like it. Thankfully, my wife and I are united on the temperature of the house and the room, so there's no combat there. But uh, electricity actually really isn't that bad here compared to a lot of other places. Had people move from California, had some people just in from Michigan. We were talking about some of their electricity costs. Oh no, Kentucky. Just maybe it's just where you happen to live. And these Kentucky people lived in an older house. Maybe it wasn't energy efficient, but they were paying $700-800 a month for electricity on not that big of a house. And I was like, dang, like this house is pretty big. We keep it pretty cold and it's pretty hot out. And if we hit, the 400s, I'm surprised. So uh, that's not what I'm talking about. To save money here in St. Augustine, St. John's, the thing you really have to look out for is your water. And in particular, I'm talking about your sprinkler system. Gotta make sure that, especially if you have HOA, that make sure that your grass stays green. You gotta make sure that you focus on, pay attention to, and program your sprinklers correctly and make sure that they are maintained correctly. So here's mistake number one that people make down here is they build a new house. The builders put sod in, and then they need to get that sod to root. And so it needs a lot of water. And so they're watering every day. Every zone's probably getting 30 minutes a couple times, like an hour a day. 5 zones, you've got, 5 hours of watering every single day. Just crazy amounts of water. And then you close on the house, you sign the water over to your name, and you forget to change the water usage. And then people they get their first water bill, and they're like, it's $2,000. Oh my goodness, what is going on? And it's just because they're way over watering. And so all that could have been avoided with just adjusting the sprinkler system. So something to watch out for. Another thing is a lawn professional or you DIYing your lawn, or for whatever reason a pipe or something could get nicked or damaged. You have some sort of malfunction within the system, and you have a leak, and you're leaking water, and that can make your bills go up significantly as well. Um, so I guess those are really the two big things: programming it correctly and making sure that things are running correctly, like there's no damage to the pipes and all of that. But another thing that you'll see here in St. Johns County in St. Augustine area is a lot of the houses have these purple pipes. So you have your black sprinkler pipes, and then you have purple sprinkler heads, kind of a pink purple sort of look. And what that means is that is reclaimed water. And by reclaimed water, it just means it's water that is captured. Have all these retention ponds here, and it's treated, but it's not potable. You can't drink it. You see the signs everywhere say, don't drink, no beaver, uh, don't drink the water. And that is because it's not safe for human consumption. Now, the sprinkler system that comes up in your yard, if you have reclaimed water, that's going to be reclaimed. You don't want your kids playing in that. If you go to the hose and you're spraying with the hose, you hook a sprinkler up to the hose, that should be potable water. That shouldn't be hooked to reclaim. But all the things with the purple pipes, that's warning you, don't drink this. This is reclaimed water. The good thing about reclaim is it's a little bit cheaper than the potable water. That is, until you hit a certain threshold, then actually the price of the reclaim can go up a little bit and can actually be a little more expensive than the potable water. But that doesn't mean overall it is more expensive. It's actually still less expensive because the big thing you don't pay on reclaimed water is you don't pay sewage. And so there's no sewage charge attached to that water, I guess, because it just gets reclaimed and then it gets treated and it gets reused and so on. So just pay attention to reclaimed water. Don't drink it. Make sure that you've got your irrigation system set correctly, and make sure that there's no damage. Have that thing checked. Check it out once in a while. Run it, and just keep an eye on your water bills, and you're going to be okay here in St. Johns County. And we've got one more tip number 7, coming right up. And finally, lucky 7, uh, just being aware, paying attention to lots of free stuff that we have going on here. For instance, if you live in St. Johns County in the month of September, you can actually go visit a lot of our tourist stuff for absolutely free. I have a list of different things, but I can send that over to you. I can put it in the comments, I guess. But like the Lightner Museum and the Colonial Spanish Quarter, the Spanish Military Hospital, the oldest wooden schoolhouse, all that kind of stuff can be visited for free in September. And there's lots of little events, lots of little things that are special just for St. Johns County residents, just for locals that you get to enjoy for living here in St. Johns County. Oh, and then there's other cool little free things too. So I keep thinking about there's this fitness group around here called F3 Fitness, and they meet in different neighborhoods and different places on different days. And it's all volunteer led, all volunteer run. It's completely free. So budget's tight, you don't want to get out to a gym, then you don't want to pay for a gym, then consider joining a group of, I think that's just men, but a group of men doing F3 fitness. I'm sure there's lots of women's groups, there's lots of play groups with kids, there's lots of parks. We talked about this back in tip number one, I think it was, on using the beach and doing all those things that you said you're going to do when you moved here and you're not doing it, to get back in the swing of that. But there is a lot of free stuff here. There's a lot of benefits for being a resident here in St. Johns County. And so know about those things and take advantage of those things. Thanks for joining me. If this content is helpful to you, don't miss any of it at all. Click that little subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll get alerted when a new video comes out. Stay classy, St. Augustine. Peace out.